We're not going to deny Messier if people need game worn sticks and stuff from Messier. Berkey said he would, don't told the head equipment manager not to worry about the cost of it all. It's Mark Messier. He was one of the highest profile players in the league, and high profile players like to look good.
Was he approachable? Was he
for
you guys? Was he
absolutely
good to the training staff? Was he
the entire Messier family? He traveled with an entourage with the family. He got to know everybody.
Right.
All incredible people.
His dad was his agent, wasn't his dad?
I think at one point,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
His brother was really involved. His sister Mary Kay was really involved.
Okay.
The entire family. I mean, they're Alberta people. They're Edmonton or just outside or wherever they were from, St. Cloud, somewhere.
And you were saying Dave Messier was particular about who he signed jerseys for?
Game worn stuff
okay.
and things like that. Yeah,
okay.
because I mean, he was worried about his image and stuff like that. He didn't want any of his stuff going out. He brought that whole. He brought the awareness of like a superstar athlete from New York to Vancouver kind
okay.
of thing.
Yeah.
We're a little podunk town compared to Manhattan. I mean, there's a little bit of a difference. As much as I love Vancouver, Manhattan's on a different scale.
Did you get a sense that when Messier was signed by Vancouver and they had the press conference, and I remember, I think there's a picture of him holding up a Canucks jersey much like this at the actual press conference. Mm-hmm. Was there a feeling in the organization like, this is it, we're going to win the Stanley Cup, like the Messiah is here?
He brought a sense of confidence and being a winner. He was a fierce competitor.
Could you notice a change in the dressing room? Was it palpable? Like were the players caught up in it? Was he the king right away? Like was he anointed? Like the minute he walked into the dressing room, he was the leader. I mean, he had that reputation, right? But did it really play out like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody deferred to him. I mean, look at his legacy, his record. I mean, what he had accomplished was phenomenal. We remember what he did to us in '94.
Calling the game-winning.
That
game in New York. Yeah, it's amazing if you had known then that a couple years later he'd be playing for Vancouver and Keenan would be coaching. Basically, complete role.
Who knew? Like, cause I mean, there was all those rumors about Keenan going to Detroit when just when we were in the finals and stuff like that. Keenan was an enigma, but incredibly smart. And way smarter than anybody ever gives him credit for.
Let's talk. That's true. He knew the game. He knew the players. He was almost like an agent, a coach, a GM, a Scotty Bowman disciple. He really was like a brilliant mind. It just came across as so aggressive and so his way or the highway that he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But he really was a very smart guy.
He reminded me of some of my sergeant majors and some of the officers that I served under when I was in the Army. Absolutely. It was.
Let's talk about this one for a minute, Dave.
Okay.
So the background, explain to people the background of this jersey.
Well, it's my name. Okay. I was a trainer.
This is Dave Shima, by the way.
I was a trainer with the Canucks for about 10 years. I was lucky enough to be selected to the All-Star training staff. We hosted it.
When the game was here in 98. Okay.
And everybody got a jersey. It's exactly the same jersey as the players wore. They just forgot the C in my name right there. And when I brought up with the CCM rep, he was embarrassed and said, I'll get you a new name bar right away. It was All-Star Weekend. There were a whole lot of things going on, and it just never materialized. So
that's unreal. What is this?
It's my, I guess, miniature or replica or whatever. It's the player-sized individual keeper trophy that we got in 1994 after winning the Clarence Campbell Trophy at the Pacific Coliseum.
And
everybody got exactly the same trophy, and whether you're a trainer or the doctors or the GM, the players, I mean, right from Trevor and Kirk.
So they got the exact same trophy as you would have got.
Yep.
And this is the one that Linden would have skated out to with Gary Bettman after the game.
And when the lid fell off.
But Linden lifted it because isn't there a code that you don't lift this trophy because it's a jinx that you're not going to win the Stanley Cup?
That came in after that. At that time, both the guys that won the East and the West would still lift, whether it was this one or the Prince of Wales.
Okay.
Yeah, that superstition came in a bit later.
Okay,
I'm not
okay.
sure what team, but no, at that time it was still
So Trevor lifted it up.
absolutely,
And the lid
then
fell off.
the lid fell off.
Did you ever like recreate that? Like just do a little one and lift it up and then have this lid fall off?
Honestly, several of my buddies at the bar did
Have
that.
reenacted that?
Absolutely.
That is a great
And
piece.
it was just one of the most inclusive moments of my career with the Canucks because they treated us all. Everybody worked hard for that, and the Griffiths family recognized that with everybody, and that was such a special. They're the Griffiths family.
Yeah, I think we
They're-
should just
they're-
touch on in the video really quickly just
there is
how,
no
for
better
people that are
family.
born and raised in Vancouver, what that time was like when the Griffiths owned the team. Just, you were saying, just wonderful people, right? I want people to hear that.
Yeah, like I said, I joined the team. Frank had given up control to Arthur and Mrs. Griffiths because of his ill health. But I got to know Mrs. Griffiths and Arthur and his wife Joanne and the whole upper hierarchy. I mean, Pat Quinn. That whole organization was one person from top to bottom. It was just inclusive. Nobody felt ignored.
But aren't you
forgotten.
glad? Aren't you glad you
And
got
they
a
were-
chance to work for the Canucks during that time? Like,
I absolutely.
Yeah,
It is the most special moment of being a Canuck trainer. Was the association with the Griffiths family, with Larry Ashley and Patty O'Neill. Those were the people that
Your
made you
mentor.
feel special every day, and the players treated you with ultimate class because if the players hadn't treated you with class, the big man Pat Quinn, who had hands the size of hams, would come down and everybody was equal in his eyes.
But you guys were the hardest working guys in the organization. The hours you guys put in, the amount of work involved in no one ever really sees or appreciates how much the training staff goes into the success of a team. It's the foundation. Without you guys,
They're phenomenal hours, but you know what? There is just something so unique about you win a big game or you break a losing streak or something like that, and the guys are coming in and they're the guys that you take care of. They're your family.
Yeah.
And they're happy. That makes you happy.
And
that is a feeling that all the hours in the world that you could work doesn't matter at that point.
And
It's
if you can't play the game, that's the next best thing. You're right there. You're part of it. I mean, you're as close to it. The only thing you're really not doing is stepping out on the ice. You're part of everything else.
And they're all the top 1% of the talented people in the world step out on the ice and represent you, and behind the scenes you represent them, and everybody does it to the best of their abilities, and that's what makes a class organization, which is what the Griffiths taught us right from the top down.
Well, I'm really proud to be purchasing these items from you today, and we've talked quite extensively before we've met today and gone over the market for things like that. I've given you my perspective on what is involved from my end after I buy this stuff.
Yep.
And again, maybe you want to add a word or two in. I'm hoping, just trying to explain to people, it's all well and great and good to have this stuff, but when you want to sell it, it's often harder to do than people think, because at the end of the day, you have to find somebody that's going to meet you and buy it at a professional setting. I hope I've done that. And if anybody is watching out there that has old game-worn jerseys, old trophies, old sports memorabilia the general public couldn't get, and you do not have the knowledge or the desire or the time or inclination to want to try to sell it yourself, which is not as easy to do, again, as people think, you'll maybe want to pick up the phone like Dave did and call me, and we can meet and I can purchase your collection. Again, I want to thank you and hope that you can just say a few words maybe about your experience with me. And
Well, I'll say exactly how I got your phone number. I came to a time where I want to liquidate some of the stuff. Some of it had been in my storage room for quite a while. Some of it hadn't been, but I mean, everybody has different times in their life when they have to make adjustments. So I went on, like everybody else, you go to the internet, and there are a whole bunch of websites out there about sell this, sell that. I looked at Craigslist, I looked at Marketplace. I came across yours. The first thing that struck me is you'd been in Vancouver for a long time, and I grew up on Texas Island, but this is my home.
Yes.
So then I started reading some of the testimonials. I saw some of the things that people had sent you collections from Ontario and stuff like
From
that.
all over Canada. People
Yeah,
send so.
and I mean, if you're in Ontario and you got a collection, I mean, Steiner's just down there in New York. I mean, those guys are huge. But everything I read, everybody's had glowing things about you. Then we started with a couple texts and then a phone call, and you were upfront and honest with me, and you struck a chord that somebody I could trust, and that's really why I'm here. I mean, the rapport seemed to go well. You were very knowledgeable, and you didn't bullshit me, I think.
No,
Did I
that's
say
good. Say
Okay.
that. I like that.
You didn't bullshit
I
me
did, I like
at
that.
all. You laid it right
Yeah.
on the line. Some things I had, you just go, you know what? 94 was an amazing time, but we're a small town compared to the world sports market, and those things aren't desirable. And that made me think about it. Yeah, you were upfront and honest, and
I'm far from the
that's it.
biggest guy. I don't pretend I am, but I'm honest. And I
Yeah.
think that's the whole key in this is just being honest, being upfront and being honest.
And you paid for my parking.
So again, thank you very much. If you have old hockey, baseball, football, cards, and memorabilia, and it's time to sell your collection, give me a call, 604-726-1774. Go on the website like Dave did, www.aasportscards.com, and I hope to talk to you soon. That's for you, Dave, and thank you again.